Welcome to The Favorites, the podcast presented by Bet365. We are part of the Volume Podcast Network. I am Chad Millman of the Action Network. I'm live from my Tommy John home studio, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, my companion, my compadre, my BFF, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
Chad, is it a new year, new Chad, or is it same old Chad?
I love myself. Why would I want to change? I feel great. I feel optimistic. I feel like my New Year's resolution every year. I have one New Year's resolution. Live up to my potential. That's all I'm going to try to do. Every day, try to do something to make sure I'm living to the fullest of my potential. And if you do that every day, then at the end of the year, you can look back and say you've achieved great things. Could be as a parent, as a spouse, as a career journey, as a health journey, whatever it is. So I don't want to change a thing. I'm fucking doing great. How about you?
It's good, man. I'm literally the total opposite of you. I've learned in life, if you don't try at all, that's the only way to succeed. So, yeah, God bless you, Chad.
It's so funny how different we are. If you listed sort of your traits, how you approach life, how you see people, how you view the world, and the same things for me, people would think you're the old guy and I'm the young guy, and that you've seen it all, you're world weary, that you have a perspective that comes from years and years and decades of hard-fought experiences. And I'm just like the irrational optimist who hasn't been beaten down by the world yet.
So we're perfect for one another, brother.
Today is our NFL Week 18 Best Bets episode. It's the last best bets during the regular season. Final time, Simon and I will narrow down our 5 picks for the favorites $100,000 Pro Football Pick'em contest presented by Bet365. We will get into the foxhole. We will give out our Tommy John Big Balls Bet of the Week. We're going to discuss Simon's biggest bets, our boosted moneyline underdog parlay, the underdog round robin, and so much more. Bets are rolling in, lines are moving, decisions need to be made. As our Volume podcast boss, Colin Coward, likes to say, there's a sea of money out there. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365, and now new Bet365 customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Sign up using promo code FAVORITES, deposit $10, place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Those bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older. Present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. Okay. It's my favorite segment. I saw someone the other day, last week. Someone said to me, you know what my favorite segment on the show is? Sharp calls. So as always, on Thursday during the season, we like to hear how the wise guys are responding to our Tuesday conversation. We are influential. Lines move off of these conversations. Pros feel compelled to weigh in on our opinions. Simon, let's do sharp calls.
Yeah, definitely a fun week with all the... I feel like it's a week of just opinions, right? People making opinions and then kind of making moves based off of the coach's opinions, right? That's the other thing, too. It's like this week you're really locked in on all the stupid coaches' press conferences, and you're trying to read through the lines of what they're saying here. And let's start on what side's the pros on the opposite side of us. So Chad likes the Chargers. I like the Chargers. They love the Raiders. Like every pro I've talked to loves the Raiders on the spot. And I don't get it, Chad. So that's a game we have to break down because I really don't understand what they're getting from this Raiders side, and that they see the Chargers having a letdown here or not trying or maybe resting starters. Does Harbaugh strike you as that guy at all? I just do not get what they're reading here in this one.
We've got intel on this, and this sounds like it's going to be a foxhole.
Yeah, just one that really popped out to me, just how many guys I talked to that were on the other side of that one. For another game that I think that I talked about it on Tuesday that I really liked Minnesota and that I was going to probably most likely bet heavily on Minnesota +3. I've talked to a lot of pros that love Detroit, so that's a really fun split game. There's some really smart money on Detroit, and for good reason, right? It's a proven team that's been there before, and what's going to feel like a playoff game against Sam Darnold. Like, I get their perspective that they think he's going to choke, and they trust Goff, and they want to put their money behind a guy like Goff. Like, can't argue against it, right? So that was another one that really jumped out for two games that I'm on the other side of. For games they like that we like, Chad, Bengals, I know a game we're going to break down. Most guys I've talked to are on the same side of us with the Bengals. Same goes for this Jaguars game we love. It got up to +5 at a couple books. Now it's down to +4.5, +4 at a couple books. So makes sense. The smart money's come in. And obviously, a darling I should have taken, should have listened to Chad, should have made Simon Says the Giants. I don't know a single pro right now that's on this Eagles team. It just feels like the exact type of game where Eagles, not that they want to lose, but the coach has already come out and basically said that they're sitting a bunch of key starters, and it's most likely going to be the third string quarterback playing in this game. So, yeah, very, very interesting how much money's coming on the Giants. They were +3.5 before Sirianni came out and said he's sitting Saquon and a bunch of starters. So that number now, Chad, is down to 2.5. Like I said, I wish I had made it, Simon Says. And for the last one, a game me and you love. I don't know how much. Actually, I don't know how much Chad loves. I just love it. I love Tennessee. Every pro I talk to loves Tennessee in this exact spot. So that's going to be Joe Public on Houston. Only professionals are going to bet Tennessee, who are 2-14 against the spread. So makes sense when I'm talking to these guys why no one loves this Tennessee side.
I freaking love it. A couple games you pinpointed here that I'm very excited to talk about. Definitely the Chargers. Definitely Tennessee. And there's a couple others too that I want to get to. But it feels like there is a foxhole bet there that sometimes it's harder to figure these out, but I think we know which one it's going to be. We'll also do our big balls. Buffalo at New England. So this one has moved from 3 to 2.5. The drama, and you talked about it the other day about the Patriots and fans hating the Patriots. It's so interesting because there is a lot of speculation here in the Northeast and in New England about Gerard Mayo. Will the Patriots walk away from Gerard Mayo after 1 year? The Crafts personally anointed him as the Bill Belichick successor while Bill Belichick was still the coach. Mike Vrabel is now available. Vrabel is beloved. Vrabel is a proven head coach who has had great results. We love Vrabel as a coach, especially when he's an underdog. That to me is always the sign of a good coach, is you can cover and you can win. So as an underdog, would they bounce Mayo for Vrabel? Mayo this week has said Drake May is starting. They're going to play to win. They have the number 1 pick. If they lose, line has moved to 2.5.
Yeah, I could get why Patriots fans would be so pissed off. It's like, don't you see what we're trying to do here? I get why they're so mad about it, but that conversation about them not picking up Vrabel just because relationships and what they believe in, Mayo might be a good guy, all of that. You know when you know, right? Like, when a guy is a legit coach and when they're not. And, you can just tell by the players react to him. And I remember early in the year, he was just talking about them being soft and not playing hard and different things like that, which, again, wouldn't be a big deal, but he's saying it to the media. Like, that was one of the more bizarre interviews. And, anyone that loves football like we do, they know Vrabel's a better coach. Come on now. The guy took a Ryan Tannehill corpse to be the 1 seed. Like, that really happened in the AFC, which is just mind-blowing when you look back on it. That right. He was able to get that team to be a 1 seed. So, the question is, Chad, do we want to bet on Mitch Trubisky here in our final 5? That's going to be the end question, because we know, even with their backups and non-starters in there, I just trust the Bills coaching staff, their scheme, what they can do, more so than I trust New England. And this line warrants that, right? That makes sense that they're still a -2.5, -3 favorite at most books. But yeah, like, this is another game where me and you obviously don't like betting favorites. This is not the line. Like, there's a lot of dogs I just like this week. So I'll be on Buffalo, but it's not a game I'm forcing in there. I just think they're the better team. And I really wish someone would just explain it, Mayo, that if you win this game, you could get fired. Like I do think the noise would be turned up by the fan base. I don't know if Kraft could avoid that because it's inexcusable to start May here, in my opinion. Especially the hits he's been taking. Like he got his bell rung last week, and he came right back in. I think the first play he was in, he ran down the field, which is awesome. Like shows he's got a heart and he's a tough kid. But at the same time, what are we doing here? Like, are we really going to waste this kid in this type of game where I'm just so against it. So yeah, from the betting side, Chad, 2.5, I'll bet the Bills, but with very small confidence, we're betting Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, the Crafts have just lost a lot of credibility with fans over the last 24 months between the documentary in which it seemed like Bob Kraft was throwing Belichick under the bus, sticking with Mayo in this spot just could be another blow to the confidence of fans and the ownership group. Nothing's going to change. It's not like they're going to get rid of the team, but this is a real chance for them to make a substantial move to improve their organization, especially if the Patriots win this game and lose the first pick. Oh my gosh. Houston at Tennessee. For 17 weeks, Simon, we have avoided the Titans. It might be our greatest success. They have shown value against power rankings in nearly every game they've played. In 14 of those games, you alluded to this, they did not cover the spread. No matter what happens in this game, they will go down as the worst against the spread team since we've been tracking this, maybe in NFL history. Evan can confirm that later in the show. They're currently 2-14. In week 18, Simon, they are our Simon Says. And now we got word that the wise guys are all over the Titans. Give it to me. Lay it on me.
Yeah, and it is interesting when you're reading about what the Texans are going to do in this spot and who they are resting. Obviously, CJ's not playing this. A couple key starters. Nico Collins isn't playing. A bunch of guys. Anderson's not playing on the defense. When you go on the flip side for Tennessee Titans, everybody's playing. Like the coach, not that he scoffed at it, but he kind of laughed. It's like, no, they're about to get whatever we said, a 6-month vacation after this. Not direct quote from him, but basically gave us a slanted, like a little look to the reporter being like, what would we, yeah, exactly. What kind of stupid question is that? So we know the stats, right? Will Levis, 2-9 against the spread. Mason Rudolph, 0-5 against the spread this season. So doesn't matter what quarterback is playing. This team is just all around bad. But like we talked about, they're in this unique position of people don't understand how desperate teams get for a win. Like it's a different type of high, but it's a high that they crave, right? It's something that you just need it. Every week you lose, the world looks a little darker. Everything feels a little shittier. Everything sucks. And you just know, like, especially when they talk to guys in this locker room, why they've been trying so hard these last couple of weeks. Because, again, they have not been playing for anything, Tennessee. But every week, even though they've been losing, they still play really hard. I really think that is something that, like, you turn on the tape and you can see it. I mean, their defense, like you've been talking all season, I know I laughed at it, but their defense is, like, second or third in giving up yards this season, least amount of yards. Like, they've been really good at teams not moving the ball against them. The issues have been, right, just giving up touchdowns. Like, they can't stop teams, it seems like, in the red zone. So, yeah, this is, to me, is all about the number. There's one really public book out there. They still had Tennessee at +1.5 last night. Now, even them have moved to -1. So, even at this point, they've followed the professional money. Because I'm looking at the Action app right now. All the tickets are on Houston. But the money is basically split, right? It's slanted towards this Tennessee team. So, yeah, would we have liked it if they were a dog? Yes, we definitely. Me and Chad hate lines that flip. It just has never worked out for us for the most part. But in this one, I feel confident that the smart money is coming on the right side. The money is moving the way it should. And this is another team, Tennessee, that, you know, if the Patriots win, they lose. They could get the 1 seed. These guys don't care. Like, they're like we just talked about the same thing in New England. Like, they're kind of going with the idea of we just want to win. And I get it. That's part of football, right? No one cares about the draft picks. They don't know if they'll be on the team next year. So this Tennessee team, I can see them trying really hard on the flip side with Houston. I'm happy to bet against their second team. It's just a team that, to me, was already bad coming into this game. The whole vibe of Houston was bad. now we're getting in their scrubs for the second team. So I like Tennessee in this matchup.
Simon, goes back to what I said at the beginning of the show. People just want to live up to their potential. They just want to try. They want to feel satisfied with the effort. They want to go to bed at night, know that they gave it their all, and feel good that what they exercised during a week paid off in some capacity. And the Titans have just not felt that. And the Titans, from everything I've read, I've been digging in, reading all that I can about coaching moves, GM moves, trying to get anything about some incentive for this week. Seems very likely that the Titans are going to bring back their GM, they're going to bring back their coach, and they're going to try to find the quarterback that the three of them together can build this franchise as they're really thinking about, they got a new stadium opening in 2 years. How can they get better? They're going to give that team the opportunity, and that executive team the opportunity to turn this thing around and get the right player. They don't have to worry about sort of tanking or not playing up to the best of their ability.
Agree.
So I'm with you. Another one, Jacksonville at Indy. Still no word on Anthony Richardson. So,
Would you see the reports about him?
That he couldn't walk last week?
Yeah, he couldn't walk a week ago.
Walk. Yeah. But they're still saying if he is healthy, he'll play.
That's insane.
But we lean Jags. I think we feel more strongly about it this week or now than we did on Tuesday. To me, it's more of a vibe than anything on the field, right? Jags have been trying hard. They've been keeping games close. Mac Jones has been outperforming bad quarterbacks. They won. And the Colts culturally just feel like they're a little bit lost. And I think that game took the wind out of them and is raising a lot of questions about, will Shane Steichen still be there? What is their future at quarterback? What is happening with their GM, who you mentioned the other day, Chris Ballard, has a reputation as a great GM, has not won the division in 8 years, a division that has terrible teams year in and year out. This is not the NFC North of 2024. So they are locked into Trevor Lawrence as their quarterback. Draft position is not going to mean as much for them. Normally, based on last week's performance, we'd fade the Jags and want to bet the Colts. But I don't feel that way this week.
No, and honestly, it's because it is the Colts that the Jags, they historically have matched up really well with them. It was just like we talked about last week, the Eagles and Cowboys. There's just certain teams that teams can match up really well against. And that same goes here for this Jags team, that they've always, even when there's, ups and downs with their quarterbacks or their quarterbacks hurt, they've always played really well against this Colts team and kept games close. And usually their games end up being shootouts, especially when it's in Indianapolis. So this to me is all about the number. This number is way too big, way too much respect. Even if it is Anthony Richardson, I could see it dropping because I just think the books give more respect to Joe Flacco. But 4.5 for way too many points for us to pass on. I love this number. I love this Jags team, and what we just talked about. The vibes for this Jags team just feel so much better. We're them going in and winning this game. That makes more sense to me so much more than the Colts winning this game. Colts, to me, they're done. Half their team feels like they're already half foot out the door and they're ready to go on vacation. They're just disgusted with the front office. They're disgusted with the coaching. And, that was one of the least prepared teams I've seen all season last week against that Giants team. Even going back, watching the tape, just defensively, Gus Bradley was just awful. Again, that's a man that's guaranteed to be let go and on a different team next year. So, we're just simply playing the number here, Chad. Like the matchup for this Jags team and just the way they've been down the stretch here. It's just a team that has not quit. Surprisingly, they've improved in some ways. And I know, the dirty secret kind of is out right now that Doug Peterson's basically gone, and they're going after the guy I know you want, Ben Johnston from Lions, and they're apparently going to give him just whatever he wants, which is really interesting to know. Will he leave the division, NFC North, and go down there where it's I don't know. Again, I just think it's all lined up perfectly for the Bears, where it's you guys are getting a guy who knows the Detroit offense and how to take down the big bad wolf in your division. Him going to the Jags would be very the Bears. The Bears just don't spend enough money or give him enough to do whatever he wants, and he leaves to go to Jacksonville just because if they're going to let him make decisions on the draft, that's a big deal. Like first time head coach, now he gets to make decisions on the draft as well. So yeah, for Jacksonville, we all know that these players, they seem like they like Doug Peterson. One more game for Dougie. Give me plus 4.5 on this Jaguars team.
Simon, I 100% believe that Ben Johnson is going to the Jags. I don't think the Bears have a shot right now. I don't have any insight, but just knowing the Bears' history, knowing how the Bears manage the coaching interview process, knowing that they have not been able to overcome, knowing the coaches have not been able to overcome ownership issues in multiple generations, other than Mike Ditka.
Other than said John Fox. Was he the last one?
No, Lovie Smith took him to the Super Bowl.
Yes, you're right. Lovie was great. And he got fired in the worst way, right? They had bad karma from that firing of Lovie.
The Bears fired a coach who took him to the Super Bowl and was 10-6 the year he was fired.
Yeah.
So I think they've got executive staff dysfunction, right? Because we don't really know how involved Kevin Warren is going to be, the president, in any of these decisions. They've always been cheap. You can go to the AFC South. If you like Trevor Lawrence, that's the one critical factor. Ben Johnson has to like what he has in Trevor Lawrence, right? The Jags are invested in him. We don't think he's been that great. He has underperformed. But if you like him and think he can run your offense, you got a better chance in winning than you do in the NFC North over the next 3 to 4 years. And that's your horizon as a coach. So would not be surprised at all if he blew off the Bears and went to Florida where it's warm and you don't pay taxes and, you got a better shot.
They don't have Pornhub, though.
What's that?
Nothing. Keep going.
Oh, I didn't know what you said. Before we get to Washington at Dallas, these are the final days of our favorite pick'em contest. Saturday games are not in the contest this week, but we've got D. Winsenberg in first place with 61 points and 9 entries at 56 points or more. A dogfight to the finish. First place is 40 grand. Second is 10 grand. Third place is 5 grand. Cash prizes for the whole top 10. Excited to crown a winner. It's not going to be us. Hopefully we get the winner on the podcast. Whoever it is, the invite is open. Washington at Dallas. We leaned Dallas on Tuesday. The line has moved in that direction. It's 4.5. Did you see the clip of Eagles fans cheering Jerry Jones in Philly last week?
Yeah. Ultimate troll job.
So good. So good. And Jerry's just smiling, laughing, just so funny. Just great to see Jerry owning it all. I think it's better than 50-50 Mike McCarthy stays if it's Jerry Jones's choice. He might leave because his contract is up and he can go look anywhere he wants to look. But fascinating subplot here. I do think there's been a sea change in sort of people believing McCarthy will stay if he has the option and Jerry Jones wants him to, and he decides that's the best option for him. If he leaves, it might be because he wants to leave. I don't think that has an impact on this game. I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I saw Shefty talked about how basically all of his assistants as well, or deals are done. So he'd basically need to re-sign all the guys on his coaching staff. So yeah, it's, as an Eagles fan, I kind of want them to bring McCarthy back just because I fear the unknown that if they do get a guy like Vrabel, that would be disastrous for us. But Jerry's in a weird spot, and this Cowboys team's in a weird spot where it's like me and you both love it because of the number and the letdown we expect from Washington in this exact game. But this is another game I'm betting with very little confidence just because my fear is this Cowboys team is basically just on their last leg. Like, they have guys who've had big injuries. They've come back. They've played through it at this point, but you can just tell that, like, even that Eagles game, they were not into that game at all. So this is going to be another game where the public is going to hammer the Commanders. We'll see if they get lucky again, Chad, because this is, again, another good number against a team that's overvalued in the Commanders. And, we've seen it all season. Like, the fourth down variance for the Commanders has just been absolutely insane. I think in that game we bet, I don't know if they went 3 for 3 or 2 for 2, but it felt like every time they needed a big play on fourth down, it happened for them. And, it's historical. The success rate they've had on fourth downs is just insane this season. So we know what this bet's going to come down to. It's going to come down to fourth downs again. It's just how it's been betting against this Washington team. If they capitalize, me and Chad are most likely going to burn, but this is just a number that's way too big. Like, I think I'd probably, if this was a fully healthy with CeeDee Lamb, again, obviously this is different if Dak's playing, but if it's CeeDee Lamb with Cooper Rush, okay, we make this, 3.5?
Yeah.
The point bump makes sense, right? There should be 4.5 at this point, but it's just a spot where we've seen the historical data. Teams that are playing for playoff positions, going against a team that, way below 500, that have not been good this year, they tend to cover in this week. That's why we love betting these type of dogs in the final week of the season. Just historically, we've seen it, right? Teams kind of play up to the moment, try to be the spoiler. Obviously, they're not going to knock Washington out of the playoffs here, but if they do beat them, Washington now has to go face Philly. That's a big deal. So pretty interesting what the Cowboys might do here. Everything I've read, it seems like, Micah Parsons is playing, all their starters are playing. Only guy really missing is going to be CD, obviously.
Yeah, and this Commanders defense is terrible. And I'm not afraid of betting Cooper Rush as a 4.5-point dog in this spot. Even without CD, he's just been an effective backup quarterback. And the Eagles have been the one team that he really can't unlock, right? And you look at the other games, and I think that the problem for this year is that his first game was against the Eagles, and it was so bad that it depressed the market on the Cowboys. And I think a lot of people have missed the value because they're only thinking about that first Eagles game. And then he started to play a little bit better, and they had a run. And then this past week, he hit the Eagles again. And now I think the Commanders are overvalued because of what they did against the Falcons, but also what the Cowboys did against the Eagles. I still think you're getting pretty nice price on the Cowboys here. I don't know if it's going to be in our final five, but I'm not as afraid of the Cowboys in this spot as you are, or the Commanders for that matter. I think their defense is pretty bad.
And I just want not to cut you off on Tennessee. That line's running now. So basically everywhere that I had them as a dog basically has them up to -1.5 now. So
wow.
Yeah, the money's starting to come in now here on Tennessee.
All right, Carolina at Atlanta. One more time. It's time to celebrate. Look, Carolina +8. We both love the Panthers on Tuesday. I would imagine we still love the Panthers. The line's moved from 8.5 to 8. We cannot quit the Panthers right now, Simon, to remind people of the stakes. If the Bucs win, they're in. The Bucs lose, then the Falcons win, they're in. The games are at 1:00. There will be some scoreboard watching. If it's at any point Bucs are blowing out the Saints and there's no chance the Falcons are going to get in, the tide in this game could change. We could find the back door, but generally we just like Bryce Young. We're going to continue to back Bryce Young. Give us the Panthers.
Yeah, we can't quit them. And honestly, my confidence in this one has been coming from the breakdown of Penix. And I know, again, it's only 2 games. It's a very small sample. I get that. But it's actually pretty interesting statistically how, I might have overrated him a little bit after his first game, and that he actually isn't that great of a passer right now. And he's still kind of working through things, which we expect, right? It's his second now. This will be his third start. So that's a lot of the confidence to me is that, this is a huge spread for a guy like him. And we saw in that Giants game, right? They were kind of losing, they couldn't find themselves, and all of a sudden, Drew threw a pick 6, and that kind of reset that whole game where, okay, once they got the lead again, they can lean back onto the running. So that'll be the key here for me. It's like, can they stop Robinson, which no one has done in the last 10 weeks, right? Like, Robinson has arguably been a top 3 running back now this season, and he's been dominant. And we know, me and Chad know, because we've been betting him all season, Panthers cannot stop the run. Like, their best
100 yards rushing allowed in 5 straight weeks.
Right. So, and again, it's because when their best D lineman got knocked out either week 1 or week 2, and it was like,
Derek
okay,
Brown
that's
before the season.
Yeah, that's the end of their run defense right there. Like, that's the guy for them, and that's the fear here. That's the reason me and Chad are getting 8 points here, just because of that. It's We hope Bryce Young can keep this in this, but this is really going to come down to stopping the run and putting this all in Penix. Like, you need to stack the box, make this kid beat you with his arm, just because, like I said, he's high variance in his throws. Like, he throws uncatchable balls, and it. I don't know if it looks weird to you, but seeing him throw left, it is different. Like, we talk all the time, that is a difference for these receivers catching a lefty throw than a righty throw, and it just looks different coming out of his hand to the receivers. So this, to me, it just feels like an inflated line, especially because Carolina just got rolled, absolutely blown out the week before, and they've been good to us bouncing back. Them burning me and Chad one last time would not be shocking to the least,
No.
But I just can't help myself. I believe in Bryce Young, believe in their offense, and I really do think we'll be either have a chance to win this game outright or easily have a chance to backdoor this summer. It just feels way too big, way too much respect to this Atlanta team.
I also don't worry about effort in this game. This is a team where they know the coach is going to be back. They're starting to get a pretty good sense of who their quarterback is. They've built momentum in the latter half of the year.
Yeah.
They don't want to end the year on a shitty game with a bad taste in their mouth. I think it matters to win the last game of the year if you're a bad team, and be able to see positivity and have confidence and feel like you have some kind of momentum. So I don't have a problem backing the Panthers here at all. It's going to suck. We're going to do it. Chicago plus 10 at Green Bay. This line has moved up. You liked the Bears on Tuesday at 9. It's gone up to 10. The Packers need to win, and they need the Commanders to lose to move up from the 7th seed to the 6th seed. So there will be some scoreboard watching, and there are some trends that back the Bears here. This was one of the saddest things of all the things about the Bears that make me sad. ESPN this week did a survey of 111 NFL players of the hardest places to play in the NFL. 1, 2, and 3 were Kansas City, Seattle, and Minnesota, actually. 4 was Philly, by the way, and Matt Mitchell. 5 was Buffalo. But the Bears, Soldier Field, tied for 31st after the Oakland Coliseum. I know the game's in Green Bay this week, but I'm thinking about the Bears. How pathetic is that? Tied for 31st after Oakland Coliseum. I'll remind you, they don't play NFL games in Oakland anymore.
I mean, honestly, it's pretty shocking just because I always thought Chicago was just the toughest place to play because not only the weather is brutal, but you guys, even when you're terrible, you sell out and the fans are loud. So that's interesting. Maybe they're not as loud as we perceive on TV.
They ruined the stadium. When they built the new alien spaceship inside of Soldier Field, it ruined the acoustics. It's not as loud as it used to be. And also, like, the team's just bad. It's been bad for so long. People leave games early. And if it's really, really cold, then people who have season tickets are selling their tickets at the end of the year. So you're getting, randoms who sometimes are super fans. Sometimes it's a holiday gift. They're just taking their kids. Like, I know it because, like, I have so many friends who have season tickets or have had season tickets over the past of 40 years. So it's not as loud as you would think it is. Not like 85 when I was sitting in the 20-yard line against the Giants and the Rams during the playoffs. Those were
the days. Take me back to 85, baby. Damn, I missed 85.
Dude, Sean Gale. Oh my God. It was just amazing.
People were smoking cigarettes in the stadium still. Damn, those were the days.
They were they were passing me drinks and I was, 15 years old.
Yeah, put a little hair in your chest.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't want to bet this one. I don't know what was wrong with me on Tuesday. I did bet this Chicago team, but no pros are on this game. I feel like most guys are avoiding this game for different games. And after reading Evan's article, gave me legit zero confidence in this Bears team. I think they're 1-10 straight up in their last 11 against this Green Bay team. And it's just, like you said on Tuesday, it's not even a rivalry anymore, right? It's just so one-sided.
Yeah.
It's brutal. So I might be eating these words come Sunday, and the Bears shock the world and do finally pull an upset off, and I'm an idiot because I didn't hammer this and stick my chest out in this one. But there's just other dogs I like better, and you're right. Like, the fear for me is that locker room for Chicago is just totally out. Like they're just totally gone, totally given up on this team and this front office, and they do know that this is not the coaching staff for next year. So you're right. There's really no incentive other than personal incentives to play for this one. So yeah, hate it all. Everything coming out of Chicago right now is just so negative. I don't want to be putting money on this one.
Reminder, Bears have not won a road game on a Sunday since our friend Nick Foles did it for them in December of 21. All right, the game that we talked about earlier, sharp calls, New York Giants +2 at Philly. Like I said, Philly was 4th toughest to play, Buffalo 5th. Saquon will not be playing. How do you feel about that?
A wise man once said it best, Chad. Records can be broken, banners hang forever. So,
So
yeah.
true.
What do I want him to break the record so I can shove it down Giants' face? Like, yeah. I mean, it's been a great day. If you're just an ultimate hater of your division and talking shit to one another, it's been a fun week, especially on Reddit where Giants fans trying to make it like, well, Eric Dickerson did it in 16 games, so it's not a real record. Well, I guess OJ did it in 14 games. Is that the real record? Or Jim Brown, who did it in 10 games, is that the real record? I mean, what are we doing here? So it's been a fun week of just trying to act like they're not pissed off. I don't know. Giants fans, they got to be down the worst out of any fan base right now in football, especially after losing the #1 pick last week. It's just been too good. So, yeah, Saquon, I could see it in his eyes and the way he talked about it. He's bummed, right? He wants that legacy. Like he said, that's something amazing to have attached to his last name. But as someone that knows that Saquon's never had any playoff success, I think once he gets his first playoff win, that feeling will go away. Where he'll realize, like, dude, the ultimate goal here is to hang that banner. And the Eagles right now, I mean, obviously we'll talk about it next week. Like Hurts is still not even out of concussion protocol. Like it's bad if he's got a really bad concussion like that, because those are the symptoms that just don't go away. Now he's 2 weeks in. So between that, Saquon. This Eagles team using this as a bye week, that's great. Giants just popped back up to +3 at a couple really public books. So some smart money now has come in on the Eagles here this morning, which is pretty surprising, but nothing changed in my position. I think the Giants, they're going to play hard. And the Eagles, they're going to play their rookies, I guess, and a couple other guys, but for the most part, they're going to be sitting almost all their starters, especially across the offensive line. And we expect to be Tanner McKee at quarterback. Again, guy making his first start in his career. I know he came in and did well against the Cowboys, but I feel like at that point the Cowboys kind of had quit on that game. So, we expect the Giants to keep shooting themselves in the foot, win this game, give themselves worse draft capital. But, and again, Evan had an amazing thing in his article about Brian Dable. Like, the guy has been money in these final weeks of the season. I believe he's 5-0 against the spread in the final 2 weeks of the season, right, Evan? So, his teams play hard for him. He doesn't really care about draft position. He's got one thing in mind, that's to win. So, yeah, this matchup for the Eagles, I was really worried about they were going to play Saquon. But after Sirianni's conversation yesterday, for a fact he's not playing. Guys like Lane Johnson's not playing. That's going to be a big deal, right? They're going to be resting so many key starters. So, yeah, just take the points here. I just think I get where the public's coming from. They're like, there's no way Giants win back-to-back weeks. I get it, but we always see these final weeks are just weird, right? These teams like the Eagles, the best statistical team in football, that is not going to be the same team on Sunday, right? They're not going to show anything defensively, and they're not going to show anything offensively, right? They're just going to start preparing for the following week. So I love this spot for this Giants team.
I saw a clip of A.J. Brown, of Tanner McKee realizing A.J. Brown had thrown
the
first touchdown pass into the stands, and he was handling it great. He's like, oh, that's too bad. And then A.J. Brown, who felt so bad about it, ran over, told him that he got it back, said he was so sorry. Like, it was so genuine and authentic, like how badly A.J. Brown felt about it. I thought it was a great scene because, like, you get to see real connection and, like, how these players recognize what a big deal it is to throw a touchdown pass in the NFL. And it doesn't matter if you're the first string, second string, third string, or the high profile $100 million temperamental receiver. He recognized he screwed up and felt terrible for a guy who has a special moment and fixed it and then went over and apologized. I thought it was just adorable.
Yeah, it was hilarious. The guy who caught the ball is like a very classic South Philly looking guy. Like
Yes.
was
He's like,
like
I got
throwing a
you. I
yeah,
got you.
flexing to him, being like, "You guys are the heart and soul of this team." And then, of course, Big Dom was the one that came over and got the ball.
Yes.
It just had all. So yeah, very funny.
That Dom thing is like so easy to explain as a Philly phenomenon and hard to explain for anyone who doesn't follow sports or understand Philly sports culture. Like,
Yeah.
there's nobody in the stands who, if Big Dom came over and said, "Give me the ball," wasn't going to give Big Dom the ball. You know what I
I
mean?
just always think it's funny where you think about all the stuff we don't know about what Big Dom does. Like, he's the guy showing up at 3 a.m. at the police station to get the guy out
100%.
and drive him home. Like,
Yes.
he's a do it all guy. And I just love that he's become such a personality in Philly.
I think he's the first guy the cops call. I think he's the first guy the agents call.
Yeah.
I think he's the first guy anyone calls if there's
Yeah.
anything going down and they need to fix something right away. LA Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. So this line's come down a little bit. You said the wise guys are liking the Raiders. I
Yeah.
get it. I get it.
Do
Jim
you? I don't get
Harbaugh.
it at all.
Well, I get like, thinking, what are the Chargers playing for here? They do have some seeding to play for. They get the 5 seed if they win and the Steelers lose. So they will know like what they're playing for by the time this game kicks off. It's one of the few games where seeding will be where the stakes will be determined and they won't have to scoreboard watch. But Harbaugh went on the Let's Go show with Jim Gray and Belichick, said he was playing to win the game. And that's what I would fully expect from Jim Harbaugh. I would take that to mean he's not resting his starters. Uh, and if there are still stakes to be had, um, I, I don't mind betting the Chargers here. It's like the reason why road favorites have been winning this year is usually because of good coaching and limited mistakes from their quarterback. That's what the Chargers have. It's why we liked them against the Patriots last week. I think you're getting a lot of love for the Raiders right now because they're on a 2-game win streak. That doesn't phase me. If the Chargers have something to play for, and we'll know by the time we put our picks in, I like the Chargers.
Yeah, and you just talked about where the Raiders, you know, not that they just beat Jacksonville, but it feels like they kind of got away with one there, right? There was like a last fourth quarter drive and they stole that game. And then they beat the Saints. And, other than that, we've seen when they played any team that's semi well coached or outside the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs, their games are always weird against the Chiefs. We knew that. We took them against the Chiefs in that exact matchup. But anyone else, you go through their schedule, they just get dominated. Like well coached teams that are smart, that have a good quarterback, just dominate this Raiders team. And that's exactly what we have here. Like, I mean, we talked coming into the season, I had doubts about Herbert being consistent for good reason. And, this season, even if he's been a little inconsistent, the second half he's been great. Like since he's come back, kind of healed from that injury, that ankle injury, especially these last couple of weeks, you've really seen him be so confident pushing the ball downfield, be totally in tune with this offense at this point. Like he looks so comfortable in this game. And I'm happy to know the Chargers hopefully will not be sitting their starters because to me, they should just keep the rhythm going. Like
Yeah.
they're a team that basically no one's going to believe for them in the playoffs, right? They're a year early at this point. That makes sense why people don't believe in them, because especially when we're talking about Lamar, Josh Allen, and the Chiefs. It's like, okay, if it's Mahomes versus him in this exact scenario, we just think Mahomes is going to get the best of him at the end of that game. But in these type of scenarios, when he's playing bad teams, I just feel like Herbert shines. And same with Harbaugh. So I love what you're talking about here. We're just maybe this line movement's because of what you just said. Maybe the pros who are betting Pittsburgh beating Cincy. Maybe that's the thought here, where it's just like they're combining these two because they're like, well, the Chargers will sit their starters because they have nothing to play for. But that's a decision me and you, like you just said, we can make Sunday morning if we need to. But I'm happy to lock this line in now because say they do get blown out, Pittsburgh, couldn't this line go up to 6? I don't know. I find it very interesting that it has moved so much. And I love this Chargers team, especially when they're playing a bad team. Their coach is horrible. He's a psychopath. He's not going to take his foot off the gas. Like I just feel like they're going to go out there and try to whoop on this division foe.
Jim Harbaugh is my New Year's resolution spirit animal. I want to live up to my full potential. Jim Harbaugh says they're attacking Week 18 with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. That's how I'm attacking this show. We didn't come into this show thinking, all right, it's week 18. Can't really make any predictions. We digested it.
Yep.
We did the work. We watched the press conferences, looked at the trends. We're coming in here. We're playing to win the week. We want to go 5-0. We want to live up to our fullest potential every single week. We are the Jim Harbaugh-led Los Angeles Chargers of the Favorites Pick'em Contest podcasting world. I want to talk about the Rams and the Chargers for a second, not because we're going to pick them at this point.
Rams Seattle.
Rams Seattle. I did like him. I liked Seattle at 3 on Tuesday. I did make it my executive decision. It's not been a great category for me this year. But I would like the full credit at 3. It moved to 4 during the show because I'm sharp and people hear what I'm saying, and then they immediately start following me. It's now 6.5. Like, I'm not sure why the move happened so late. McVay had telegraphed he was going to rest his starters. He had said it in his podcast earlier in the week. I talked about it on Tuesday. He said he was looking forward to seeing Jimmy Garoppolo and Blake Corum play. So, like, now he's confirmed it. I also mentioned Gino has $4 million in incentives that he's going for that are relatively easy to get. So we know he'll be playing. We like the Seahawks and playing for a new coach. They want to put good stuff on tape. They want to build momentum. It's up to 6.5 now. We're not going to bet it, put it in the contest. But it's amazing to me that it took so long for it to get that far.
But I think you just nailed why it did, because he basically confirmed it, and that's when you really saw the line shoot up to 6.5. Like when he came out and basically said, everyone's sitting, and I'm excited to see Jimmy be playing in this game. It's like, that was, to me, that was when the line really moved. Like literally right when he had that press conference. So
yeah, but isn't this about finding the edge, right? Like we had intel and we had information, and McVay had sort of telegraphed this when it was at 3. Why were people waiting so long? That's when you want to bet, when you feel like you can get a sort of get a jump on the competition.
yeah, that's what I mean, though. Maybe they were just waiting for him to really confirm it before they wanted to put money on
Cowards.
it. And
That's what I say. Cowards.
yeah, I mean, it depends. When you're betting a certain amount of money, though, you want to be sure what you're betting on. So, yeah, this is a game where I'm happy we can avoid it now because it's moved too much. I honestly didn't want to have too much invested in this one just because, Gino has not looked right since that knee injury. And that's the God honest truth. Like, he didn't look right the week before. And, at 3, like you said, that to me was an amazing value. And that was like a good number because it is him with starters going up against a backup of the Rams team. And we know how top heavy the Rams are as well. Like, they're just like Houston. They're a stars and scrub team. They're just a team of really good players, and the bottom of it's really bad, right? They're really thin once you start going through the layers. So the Rams here, though, they are a young team. So I wouldn't be shocked if they do play a lot of the young starters on defense. But offensively, what I read, that's basically going to be the rookie running back, and then backup quarterback, and no Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua. And it's like you go down the line, it's like, okay, can Jimmy keep them in this game competitively? Sure, he can maybe keep this close, but do I see him winning this outright? No. So yeah, I agree with your play at 3 at 6.5. That just feels way too rich to back the Seahawks team.
By the way, I forgot to mention that the Los Angeles Chargers will be our foxhole bet. We are clearly on the opposite side. Otherwise, guys, more in that one than any other game this week. Los Angeles Chargers are the foxhole. Meanwhile, our Big Balls Bet of the Week, presented by Tommy John. If you've got the balls, Tommy John has the support great game start, great underwear, and Tommy John makes the greatest. That was me giving my big balls announcement to the fullest of my potential. Kansas City plus 10.5 at Denver. It got up to 11 on Wednesday. There was a little bit of buyback. We're on the Chiefs here. I don't understand the Chiefs at 16-1. I know who's playing and who's not, but they still have the best strategic offensive mind in football. A quarterback who is not a 14-point difference from Patrick Mahomes in Carson Wentz, this is just too big of a number. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
No, and it's gonna be the most public dog of the week, right? Because I think everyone's in agreement with us of this line's way too big, and I think they originally moved it this high because there were whispers that Carson Wentz was going to sit in this game too, that they didn't want to risk injuring him either. They were going to play their third string, and then Andy came out yesterday and said, "No, it's Carson." The weirdest thing is that it hasn't moved. Like it went down from a couple books had at 11. Yeah, it went to 10.5, but I thought this would be 8.5, 8 after the announcement it was Carson. You're right. It's like, is he really 14, 15 points worse than Mahomes? It feels like it's a bit dramatic, especially when, we've come to realize, as special as Mahomes is, especially you can't duplicate how he's so confident and great in the pocket and everything like that. But it's Andy Reid in the scheme is something that's very, 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 very important to this team. And, obviously Mahomes didn't have the numbers this year because they basically would just run the ball the whole second half and just ball control teams. I don't even think he made, I'd have to look, but I'm pretty sure he missed the Pro Bowl, right?
He didn't make the Pro Bowl.
Right. And it's like, guy comes off 2 Super Bowls, goes 15-1, but he doesn't have the stats because their team is just so smart. He knows they don't need to force balls downfield. They can just run the second half. He'll never have the stats to make the Pro Bowl. And, that's just part of it. It's a team sport. That's why we love football, right? It's the ultimate team sport. So, this is a line that me and Chad love. Going to have in the money line round robin. This is just the best part of the final week of the season. Like a team like this that no one's going to believe in can kind of shock the world here. But unfortunately, people do believe this one. Like I said, this is going to be the most public dog, most likely of the week, because I think everyone's just like me and Chad. They're all just like, best team in football, over 10 points. Take that best team. Like I'm with them. Like it's very caveman, very simple. Don't overthink this one. Just take the points with this. And I'd be shocked if this doesn't go below 10 before kickoff. I just can't see what professional is putting real money on this Denver team at this big of a favorite with a rookie quarterback, which essentially is another playoff game. Like this is a legit playoff game. It might not be to the Chiefs, and yeah, they're playing backups here, but Andy joked it's fun playing spoiler. If they can play spoiler here, he's going to try to do it. So I love this number for this Chiefs team.
Shocked, I tell you. That is our Tommy John Big Balls Bet of the Week. Simon, it's a whole new year, 2025. I don't know if you know this, but 1 year ago, my life was total chaos. And it was only after months of searching that I came to realize the source of this chaos: inferior, low quality underwear. Flippant resolutions come and go, but the choice to permanently transform your life for the better can start right this second. And with a special sale for our listeners, Tommy John is standing by to make that transformation happen. With thousands of transformative 5-star reviews, everyone can see Tommy John will help put you on a path to becoming a whole new person for the long year ahead. Simon, why will you be giving the gift of Tommy John in the year 2025?
It's the gift that lasts.
Right now, you can shop TommyJohn.com/favorites for the holidays and get 25% off your first order. Save 25% at TommyJohn.com/favorites. That's TommyJohn.com/favorites. Okay. Last one on the board, Minnesota +3 now at Bet365 at Detroit. You liked Minnesota on Tuesday. You had good reasons for doing it. I don't want to bet this game just because I want Detroit to win so badly. I'd rather just pass, miss the edge on Minnesota than bet against the Lions. You mentioned sharp calls, wise guys like Detroit.
Yeah.
My feeling here is just this is a team that is impossible not to love. You get so few windows in the NFL to live up to your potential. And I think the Lions have that shot right now. Very good chance Aaron Glenn is gone next year. He's done as well as he can with third and fourth stringers and guys off the street. Likely Ben Johnson is gone. Not that they're not replaceable, but this transformation, the entire country has been behind this team turning it around. And I just, look, I'm a sentimental guy. I'm rooting for these three coaches and this team to win the Super Bowl together, reach the height. Everyone can go off to their own separate ways, graduate into something else, but I want them to achieve it together. I want them to win the number one seed. I want them to rest. I want them to get their defensive players back. I don't want to bet this game because if the right side is Minnesota, I I don't want to be right.
And you're very nice to say that them losing their assistant, coaches won't matter, but it will. Like we've seen it time and time again. I mean, I lived it as an Eagles fan. Like we went and won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right.
We lost our OC and our DC, and we basically just went into hell.
Well, I don't know what year you're talking about. You won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles and Doug Peterson. You lost the Super Bowl and then lost your coordinators. I can't remember who the coordinators were when Doug Peterson was the coach.
No, your favorite guy is coaching the Colts, Frank Wright.
No, but that's when they lost with Sirianni. You lost Gannon and Steichen.
And the silver lining hope is the Eagles were the first team in NFL history to have a whole different coaching staff and make a Super Bowl between 5 years. So like it can happen. You can lose your coaching staff and get back there within 5 years. I mean, it's happened before, but historical data shows us it's a big deal losing these key pieces as coaches. And not that the Lions are going to be desperate, but they have to know this. Like it's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, though, they've drafted so well that maybe they can't combat it, but it's like this is the year it's all lined up. You have a really great defensive mind that you should have no defense. Like it's incredible what they have done, even winning all these games down the stretch here, because they have lost so many pieces here. And you're right, Chad. It's like I get your emotion in this bet. Who doesn't want to see Detroit win this, be the one seed? That's their best pass. But I just think at this point, to me, Minnesota is the better team. You can get 3 right now at Bet365. And we already talked about it. Like if you have, like I do, I have a bunch of futures tied to this Detroit team winning this division. You have to hedge. Like this is such a unique, great opportunity to hedge on a Vikings team that to me is the better team right now, and they're the dog. And, as much as we want to respect home field advantage, we talked about this year, there is no real home field advantage, right? Like that's kind of gone out the door, especially when there's two teams like this that can move the ball. Like the offense here is going to be the difference. And we've seen that, right? The total is the biggest total, like Evan was saying, since, 2021? It's insane how high this total is. So
57 and a half.
You not want to take it, it makes I get it. Like if you want to take a step back, anyone out there doesn't want to take this, but to me, if you have a game that's going to be a shootout, you almost always take the points. Like unless you're really committed to this Detroit team, go money line then. Like don't mess around the 2.5, because I talk all the time how important I think 2.5 is. And you even go back and look at the first time they played. Me and Chad survived that Detroit bet, right? We did handicap it right, but it was madness. There was like a strip sack touchdown at the end of the game. All of a sudden, Detroit had to drive the field again and get another touchdown. Then it was just pure madness. And that's what I think this game is going to be. Like, you're never going to feel comfortable. I can't see this being a blowout on either side. I would be shocked if Detroit blew out the Vikings or the Vikings blew out Detroit. It would honestly be shocking. But I just think the fact that you have a team on short rest, already banged up. I mean, they've just had a grueling long season here, playing against a Minnesota team that, not that they're going to be fresh in this game, but they dominated their last game against Green Bay. They basically took the foot off the gas in the fourth quarter and had a little sweat there, but I just think it lines up perfectly with this Minnesota team. So yeah, I'm pot committed. I love them at +3 Minnesota, and at 2.5, if Chad doesn't put them in contest, I get it. Like I'm more confident at 3.5 with this Minnesota team than I am at 2.5. But yeah, this is the dream scenario for the NFL. 14-2 teams fight for the 1 seed. It doesn't get much better than this.
I'm so excited to watch this game. It's like, I love football. And it's going to be a great game. All right. Well, we'll review. We'll put in our picks after the show. We're going to want to get some numbers before they move even more. People will be able to track that. We'll finalize them on Sunday morning. Each week, we give out a 2-team money line underdog parlay. Bet365 boosts the odds and highlights it on their site all weekend long under both game pages. Both games are eligible for Bet365's early payout promo, where your moneyline pick gets marked as a win if that team takes a 17-point lead, even if they lose. So if you want to bet this, better to Bet365. This week's boosted parlay, Jags and Giants. That's right. That's what we're asking. Can't imagine. Can't imagine what the trading analyst at Booth 365 will boost that one to. Find the boost under the Jags or Giants game pages on Bet365. Simon, our money line, underdog round robin. I would say we want to do the Chiefs, um, Panthers, Giants, Jags. Who else?
I remember you liked Cowboys, right?
All right, Cowboys.
And if you want to take the Cowboys out and go with Minnesota, I support it.
All right, I can do that because I know how much you love Minnesota, and I hate like when you're so locked in, and I'm clearly being emotional about it.
I'm locked in, but I'm scared. I think anyone's scared betting against this Detroit team. I mean, Man Campbell just dominates in this exact scenario. What is he having? Is he 7-0 in night games with Goff against the spread?
I think it's something like that, or it's against the Vikings too. Goff hasn't lost against the spread against the Vikings.
It's not good, Chad. It's every trend I read from Evan. I was like, God damn it! But I can't help myself.
All right, forget it. Then let's go with the underdog round robin is going to be Kansas City, Jags, Giants, Cowboys. Oh my God, I forgot the other team I wanted to put in there. Oh, Carolina, Jags, Cowboys, Giants. Carolina, Jags, Cowboys, Giants, Kansas City. All right. Jesus, that was
Scooch roulette.
Well, we got to do your biggest bets. Then I want to do Scooch roulette.
Biggest bet so far. I mean, I hit the Cincinnati one early. I've not bet it much since. That definitely is one of my bigger bets. Jaguars, Giants. Probably gonna end up with Minnesota as one of my bigger bets, especially if it stays at 3. So yeah, I would say those 3 really jump out for Sunday.
Wow, that's truly disgusting. That's going to be it. You're going to have a terrible.
I mean, I didn't even mention Tennessee because I just know no one's going to follow that one. But yeah, I'm heavy on Tennessee as well.
Oh my God, you're going to have such an excruciating Sunday. If you were drinking last Sunday, forget about this Sunday. Scooch roulette. Last week you were on Minnesota. I was on Green Bay, our first head-to-head of the year. Very upsetting for me. Who would you like to pick in Scooch roulette?
I mean, do you want to double down and take Detroit and I take Minnesota, or are you just scared off now?
No, I'll do it.
You will?
Yeah, why not?
You're a sick dog. Yeah, give me Minnesota then. What number are you getting? You get 2.5. I get +3.
Sure.
All right.
I like that. I like that one. Now it gives me like a reason to be invested without actually having to be invested as a contest pick. Before we get to Evan Abrams, if you are participating, no, this is not accurate. This should have come out. We're all good. Everything's good. Let's get to Evan Abrams before we get out of here. Our director of research. You can get the final word. Make us feel good about something.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we're betting the Giants, Titans, and Jaguars, I'm not sure how much I can help there, but I will give you a few pieces of fun information here. The one thing you guys did say about Carson Wentz, which I looked up, so 10.5 would actually be his largest spread in any game played, 93 starts. He did it against Lamar in 22. So yeah, even a big number for him in his heyday and his post days. And the interesting thing on Sunday Night Football, so Vikings 14 wins, win total was 6.5. If they get one more win at 15, this would be the most over expectations any team has ever finished since realignment in 2002. So Vikings had a 6.5 win total in the
Wow,
which is insane. But I'll give you 2 trends since it is week 18. We kind of have a lot of this information on teams to bet and fade at the end of the year. So historically, it's been profitable to fade teams who need to win at the end of the regular season. It's a great note from Stuckey that we've been updating year to year. So since 1990, eliminated teams playing teams that need to win over the final 2 weeks of the regular season, 60% against the spread. Now for week 18, that is the Saints getting about 14 in the Bucks, the Panthers getting 8 or 9 in Atlanta, and the Jets at about 1.5, or 2 against the Dolphins. All 3 of those other teams need to win. And then here's an even broader one, which I found in Bet Labs, which I found was interesting. So in addition, teams with a win percentage between 40% and 60%, week 16 or later, 27 and 72 against the spread, 27%. when they are against opponents with an 8 to 25% worse win percentage. So basically, in those last 2 to 3 weeks of the regular season, you want to be betting these bad teams against good teams. They're failing to cover the spread by 3.8 points per game. This week, that is the Colts against the Jaguars, the Dolphins against those Jets, the Falcons against those Panthers, and the Bucks against the Saints. Same type of game, same type of system, but this is just year in and year out. These teams like the Colts last week against the Giants kind of find themselves not coming through when people expect them to. And then I'll end here. We talked a lot about the Titans. So yes, Chad, to answer your question from earlier, 2-14 ATS. They're just the only team ever to lose 14 games against a spread in a season. So that will continue no matter what. But the funny thing is this. So they were favored actually last week. They closed at -1 with some late action. So they're about to close as favorites in back-to-back weeks. And I found this one. So ending the year bad. Only a few teams have had a 4+ game ATS losing streak and an ATS win percentage of 25% or worse in week 17 or later, which is exactly what you're getting with the Titans. The only two teams before that were the Bucks in 22, who actually beat the Panthers, and famously in 2021, the Jaguars, who upset the Colts and kept them out of the playoffs. The other funny thing is it's actually also the Browns this week. The Browns are, I don't know if I didn't even realize this till I look it up. The Browns are 4-12 against the spread this year. They've failed to cover the spread in 4 or 5 straight games entering this one. So they're pretty much on the same course as Tennessee. They've been really bad, kind of unexpectedly, starting DTR these last few weeks. And then I'll leave you with this. So Simon mentioned it with Dable, but I found this interesting. Best coaches against the spread, week 17 and 18 in our Bet Labs database since 2003. Tomlin, 14-7 against ATS. Dan Campbell, 7-1. And again, Brian Dable at 5-0. The other good ones were McDermott and Peterson, who I know you guys are on a few of those coaches and teams this week. So maybe that'll turn out on the positive side.
Feel great. You know what I feel like, Simon? Feel like we're going to live up to our potential in week 18. Do you feel that way too?
Always.
Good. I'm glad. Of that, we are like minds. As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. And now new Bet365 customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Sign up using promo code FAVORITES. Deposit $10. Place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Those bonus bets can be used on spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, or Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. Simon and I will return with our next episode of The Favorites on the Action Network YouTube page Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, to recap NFL Week 18 and look ahead to the playoffs. Got some wild card lines that'll be out by then. Download us from Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe. Leave us 5 stars. Say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Until next time, love you.